Hi, everybody. So sorry for the delay in getting on tonight, but we had some technical difficulties that we had to iron out. So thank you for being patient, and thank you for the ones that have joined or are joining. I hope that we see some viewers come on. That'd be real fun tonight because we really have planned for this to be interactive. So I'm really hoping that you can join us. And thank you for tuning in to Chat with Deb. For those of you who are seeing me for the first time or joining for the first time, I'm Debbie Lano. I'm also known as the Inner Peace Coach. I am also the founder of Luma Life Wellness and Coaching and the creator of the Ageless Woman Facebook page. And as you might have guessed, one of my favorite things to do is to chat with women from all over that have fun and interesting stories on subjects that will hopefully empower our viewers. And that's what that's what my page is all about. And that's what my interviews are about. It's just empowering you to just be your best selves, and to just forge through circumstances that come up in your life. So I just want to tell you a little bit about my guest, who is Carol Lovell Calvert. She's of Bell Rising, and she joins us from Charlotte, North Carolina. And just to let you know just a little bit more about her, she is an author and an energy medicine coach, light coach, medical Reiki master, creator of the first light retreat and spa in the USA, licensed spiritual health coach, and lastly, she is the founder of bellrising.org. And her current 5-year project is 1 million women turning on their silver linings. Carol is not your average older person. I think you might have figured that out by now. She is not someone just waiting around for time to pass. She is outside living it. She also has a flair for developing women's circles, and her latest is called Sterling Silver Sisters, which I am a part of. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, the evolved woman, and is a self-described celebration of redefining beauty to include silver hair and lots of laugh lines. Carol spent 2 years as the brand ambassador for Faces of Silver. It was a 2-year project photographing beautiful silver women from across the world, created by the internationally published photographer Ben Winkler, and it's now a book and a movement. Carol created a companion book, which is titled, I Am Not Beautiful Like You, I Am Beautiful Like Me. And it's just such a sweet, sweet book. I have it. I should have gotten that out right here. I do have it here, Carol. I wanted to show it to people. And
here you go.
You've got it. Oh, thank you. Yes, I don't have my hands on it at this moment. I should have had it ready. Anyway, this statistic really made me sad, Carol. Only 4% of women believe that they're beautiful. And we want to talk to the 96% who are, in fact, gorgeous. Carol works daily with women. Her specialty is midlife and up, and she does that on the daily, guys. So welcome, Carol. Thank you for being here.
Thank you. Thank you.
You're welcome.
I think that in our planning to do this segment for the Ageless Woman, you and I talked about, okay, people pretty much know who I am. Let's talk about something and get the interaction going. And what we want to talk about is, what have you been doing since March 1 in our COVID in place, at home, quarantine, lockdown, whatever you want to call it. What have you been doing? What have you been experiencing for the last 6 months? And in those 6 months, how many times with all of these experiences have you moved the process to your silver linings? So that's what we wanted to jump in and talk about. Silver linings. A silver lining is a pretty powerful thing. It's attitude. It's getting past what's happening and looking at possibilities of why it might have happened for your good. They're always there. That's why that concept, silver linings, is so popular. It was a movie, The Silver Lining Playbook. Everyone talks in some time in their life about silver linings. And the book has 25 questions, starting with when you're very young and hearing the first time that you're beautiful, thinking about the women in your life, that how they felt about gray hair and how they felt about wrinkles and how they felt about over 50. And it moves through experiences, including the yaya, the group experiences of women with women, till you get to the 25th question. And by that time, you have unraveled to your silver linings, at least some of them. So go ahead.
So the silver linings would be finding the positive in life.
Absolutely. Let's give them some examples. And what we want to do in this interaction, we would like to have them post there, if they will, on Facebook, if they would be so kind as to share what kinds of things they've been going through. We know there's all kinds because of the posts that everyone's doing. And I'll give you a couple of mine. I've been accident prone during the last 5 months, 6 months.
That's interesting.
Yes, very interesting. And I am in the process of doing one of those losses. Let's go back to the other piece of research that made me get into the silver lining aspect. Medical research shows that once a woman hits her mid-years, that her losses start stacking up. And we're not even talking menopause. We're talking losses of job, home, income, husband, parents, child, friends. And as we get older, what happens? All those things start compounding. And then we start looking at the medical reasons for all those losses. And so let's take a look at it. We're in the middle of something that most of us have never experienced before. We're staying at home. If we go out, we have to man up for protection. We can't hug the people we love. There are things that we can't do, large groups. I know all of our events that we plan for the East Coast and West Coast, right now, we can't do them. We had them planned for April. Think about the people that can't see, our age, that have family in nursing homes. Can't see their parents. They have to go to the window. I know what, go ahead.
Yeah, it's put an unusual strain on everybody worldwide.
Grandchildren. Yes. Travel. You don't know if you leave where your home base is, when you get to wherever you're going, has something changed? Has there been a quarantine for 14 days once you get there? Has that country decided that Americans can't come in, or vice versa? I mean, this isn't just America, it's all over the world. In fact, we have women from all over the world in our book, France, Italy, and so forth. So let's talk about the things too that you're used to having done. Some women are still coloring their hair, nails, all those self-cares, yoga, those who go to classes, exercise. The list goes on and on. And if you were involved in major projects during this time, let's say you were involved in moving, or you're building a house, or you're in an apartment and no work, and you've got to decide what are you going to do, you know.
So let's empower our viewers and and I'm sorry, but we don't have any interaction here. I'm not sure whether we just, we lost our viewers with rescheduling, or if they're having trouble figuring out how to join the conversation in StreamYard, and that could be too. So we might just have to have this conversation without the added input. But I'd love to brainstorm some ideas on how to thrive and have those silver linings. So I'd like to ask you, with all the things that we have had to, oh, look at this, I've got something from Tracy. In light of
Awesome.
all the, yes, oh, this is the first time I've seen a really good pop-up here. There must be a certain way in how to do it when you're on StreamYard. So this is from Tracy. In light of all the restrictions, I'm in a fight for creativity to see all I can do and be, while being extremely protective of myself and others.
So, Tracy, I have to ask, how long did it take you to get to that silver lining? What kinds of things were going on? What feelings were you having? What interactions were you having with others? That's a whole different ball game. Some wives and husbands aren't used to being together nonstop, children and families. I mean, all of that. So tell us more, that the kinds of things that happened to you, Tracy. And
Yes,
maybe there were.
yes, you just popped in. Hi, ladies. Yeah. Hi, honey. So good. So glad that you jumped on.
Hey, Tracy.
Do you want to ask her the question again?
Yes. So, Tracy, this started in March. We're into this thing 6 months, March 1. So, what were the things that were happening to you
She says
to
2
help you
weeks to
get?
get there. She said
Okay.
2 weeks to get there. Good for you, Tracy.
Can she tell us the aspects around it? What, if she will, share what happened?
She crashed just like everybody else, she says. I crashed just like everybody else. But she's adaptable, I think, from the conversations that I've had with Tracy. She adapts.
So Tracy is an author around all of this too. If you read her book, unapologetically
Unapologetically
gray.
Yes.
Okay, so let's talk about a couple things that good examples. Sugar Roman, one of our silvers, and I took a 1-day, 24-hour trip. I picked her up where she lives in South Carolina, and we drove to and this was after the first lifting of everything, right? And we drove to a mermaid flea market in Southport. And it took us 6 hours almost to get there. It was raining, and had to get to her and then cross over. And I had my dog with me, my big 60-pound dog in the back. And but we were determined. And then when we got there, the lady opened. We had an appointment. She was not open. So we were 45 minutes late because of the rain, blah, blah, blah. So we were feeling the restrictions of not only being out the first time, the restrictions were lifted. It was raining. We had an appointment to go to a retail store. Think about that one.
Wow.
And she was wonderful. She went ahead and opened, and then, earlier, and took care of us. And then we got in the car and drove to our hotel in Myrtle Beach. Again, I had my 60-pound sheepdog rescue, and we had to stay in a hotel for dogs. Beautiful hotel. We went to dinner on the ocean. Again, we're sitting outside on a pier, and everybody's got on masks, and the wind's blowing, and the waiters are coming, but we have our mask on. Every time they come up, you got to put your mask back on. Then we, of course, went back to the room the next, and we had lots of conversation, lots of silver lining conversation. And then we get back in the car and drive back the next day. And for me, that was one of those breaking times, and we'd have to talk to Sugar about her experience with it. But the silver linings we were picking up as we went. We felt strange about the differences with the requirements that were asked of us. In the car, we were not 6 feet away, but we didn't keep that on the whole time. And then we thought about that, and we were both kind of freaking out about that. It was just very interesting. So, yeah.
Tracy says here that I had to change mindset quickly. Yes, you do have to change. You have to spin your mindset quickly, because I think that if you concentrate, if you focus on all the things that are different, if you focus on the restrictions, if you focus on the I can't do this and I can't do that, it's really it's harmful. I think that it makes it worse. Yes, we have to acknowledge it. Yes, it's unfortunate. Yes, all those things. But for me personally, but I'm one of those optimists, that I know that it'll pass eventually. And so I just have that very adaptable personality, and I have faith. And faith has just really helped me glide through this. I do what I'm supposed to do. And, I abide by the rules, even though I might not agree with all of them, I abide by them. And, I hug my pod. My pod and we hug. So I mean, we don't.
That was another thing. We both were huggers, but we weren't hugging.
Yes. It's strange at first. People are going like this instead of going like this. I did start up my yoga class again, and I was respectful towards my students, and I let them know ahead of time that I would not be wearing a mask. I gave them, if you want to bring your own materials, that's fine. If you want to wear a mask, that's fine. Know that I'm not going to be. And so I won't be offended one way or another. I just couldn't see myself being able to do my practice with the mask on. So it's very awkward, especially when you're instructing and breathing. Yeah.
Let's talk about some of the things that I've seen. We don't have these people on. Let's talk about some of the things I've seen, the transitions. Having a parent in assisted living. I have watched women and men, Silvers, create a beautiful experience. One, in fact, is a bubble man, and he took bubbles, his bubble machines, out in front of his mom's window to her room and did bubbles.
That's beautiful. I love that.
And you could see the kid come out in her. Can you imagine?
That's an awesome idea.
Yeah. I've watched, I've seen some of the girls moving, and I've watched their, actually physically moving. And I've watched, like one of them, she loves to cook, but she doesn't give herself permission to do those kind of things. Well, she has during these last 6 months, and she's putting it online. She's putting, people are asking for her recipes. Look at the ones who are doing some kind of entertainment. They're singing or
so creative.
I mean, just all kinds of things, right?
Yes.
The concept of Zoom. Some families are getting on Zoom from across the world on the multi-Zoom, and think about that silver lining for going forward with families. I mean,
oh, absolutely.
That's pretty huge.
Here's from Tracy. Yes, I had to reframe my freedom, or I was going to lose my mind. My husband and I created an atmosphere of peace in our home. We rested and also revamped personal and professional practices. I love that. We worked to make some dreams come true at home. Isn't that beautiful?
That is beautiful.
That's
You
so
know,
beautiful.
I watch, I'm going to talk about my sister for a minute. She is 18 months older than I am. And she is a business owner still. She's 71, big time business. And she never would slow down because she had so much going on in the business. Well, with what happened with the restrictions and you had to stay at home, she and her husband had to totally revamp what they were doing. And their clients were schools, their clients are out. We're talking, lots of people are seeing this where their client base all of a sudden is not their client base anymore. Well, I watched Myra, my sister, and the first few weeks she was having a real hard time. And then all of a sudden she started mellowing. And then it moved from mellow to
Mm.
creative. And then it moved to somewhere in all that acceptance. And I'm thinking, wow, that's pretty huge. And I've seen that with others,
Yes.
on social media.
Yes, I think that's been the most beautiful silver lining to this tragic circumstances, that the incredible creativity that's come out of it for a lot of people. Now, unfortunately, it hasn't created the best circumstances for people in other types of situations, and that's really unfortunate. And I pray for those people that, where it's become so much of a survival challenge for them in this kind of time. But my goodness, if we could, get creative and find new ideas, and not just the ideas of blowing bubbles, making somebody happy from a distance. All the musical things we're seeing online that are so cool. And your sister.
I have seen online what you're talking about. I know we're not getting all of them, but I have seen online and in personal experiences talking with people that shift. I have the nonprofit, and I have a dear old friend who is my nonprofit go-to. And I asked her how things are going. And she's retired now, but she has one client. And interestingly, it's been around a really long time. And they've gone to a county in education. This is what they do. They will pay for the education all the way through college for any of their, from I think it's 15-year-old on. And they provide them everything they need. And she said, this has been astounding. The kids who do not have at home what they need in education.
Yes.
And they're working overtime. They're getting computers out there. They're getting parents trained. They're working with those students. They're recreating from the restrictions.
Look how people are teaming up to help. We wouldn't have seen, I think we're really seeing another side to people, to human beings, and how they really want to help.
I think that from what I can see and the experiences that are being shared with me, that while people are feeling kind of stuffed, they're ready for that shift, something to happen. Just about everybody is seeing, I don't need as much of something that I thought I did. And you know what? This is more important. Being out in nature, being with my family, cooking together.
Carol, it's kind of like
be.
how it was when we were kids, like in the 50s.
Yeah.
People are doing board games again with their families, and they're out at the park. I've been seeing people with like picnic blankets in like grassy areas. I'm like, I haven't seen that done in a long time. Those are the kind of things I remember when I was a kid. picnicking
And
with the family.
yeah, and
Yeah.
ideas, I see friends of mine who are artists that uh, their creativity has just gone just wow. I mean, the things that they're doing. Um, one of the girls here in Charlotte who is an expert artist, and she is Rosalie is her name. And Rosalie's neighbor, who is in his 90s, says, I look out the window and I can't see any flowers. Well, her the garage, the whole side faces him. So she got out and she created the whole side of the garage with beautiful flowers. Oh,
Oh
big.
my
And
goodness.
so when he looks out his window, he has
Oh,
flowers.
that is amazing. How cool is that?
That's silver lining work. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, don't want to get
It's
political.
life is so much easier if you can find the silver linings to things. And I don't care what the situation is, even out of darkness comes light, don't you think?
Yes. And, in my practice, and I'll just say this a couple of minutes here, when I had my practice in energy medicine, someone who was having a hard time with this, and that's who we're speaking with now. How do you stop thinking about what's not working and look at what's working and what's not working?
Yes.
And one of the greatest things I think to do is to list on a piece of paper all the things that have happened to you in your life, one list of all the bad things and one list of all the good things, and go the first one on the not good things and find something good. They look at me like I have several heads when I do that. But anyway, find some good and then go to the good list and find something bad. So then you start seeing
That's
it's
interesting.
all attitude. And once you can go through an exercise like that, then you realize, oh, this is my choice. So if I want to be without silver linings and think someone else knows how to have silver linings and I don't, well, just don't do those kind of things. Don't think creatively about what could be. But if you want them and want to be happy and healthy, think about it. One of the big things that I have thought about during this whole 6 months is by now, anyone who didn't know how to take care of themselves with their immune system, surely they've taken that on as a silver lining. All the things they can do, depending on what kinds of, whether they're vegetarian or whatever.
I have preached on that topic for so many years. Keep your immune system healthy. I don't care how well you eat. Everybody needs probiotics. I'm such a fan of that. It's so important to keep your immune system healthy. And not only with the foods and the supplements, and yeah, that matters, but what really matters is how you view life and how you manage stressful situations, because life is stressful. It's just, that's how it is. I don't mean it in a bad way, because not all stress is bad. But when it tips over the slope and becomes chronic, and then it's bad. And then your health gets compromised. And then your immune system gets compromised.
Exactly. So one last thing I'd like to share. During this 6 months, I've been going through what happens with one of those losses. My mom passed away in February, and we began in March working with and dissolving her estate. And my mother and dad were incredible, active, and creative. So their house, and they didn't throw anything away. And to some, that might be a negative. It wasn't to us. It was incredible to learn more about them and learn more about ourselves as we move through these things. Questions answered. It was awesome. But I
That's
always
neat.
look at silver linings.
Yeah.
But I've just been through and pretty much now getting to the end, but a major loss and all that comes with it. The family home, will be leaving, the whole thing. Um, and again, I think it's a choice.
And
And
some
as
people, yeah, some people it takes them longer to process their grief or process their emotions. But boy, if you can,
and you know what, it does affect your health if you don't.
oh,
It comes out.
absolutely.
It comes out as pain.
Yeah.
And if you can process, you'll feel yourself moving through, much like getting over a cold or having a simple cold and getting over. But the grief is lungs, and it's interesting, the aches and pains in the body. After when you're processing what's happening, but when you're done, you feel lighter and more connected with humanity and more connected with nature and with yourself. Another silver lining. So I think we're about ready to.
Yeah, Tracy just has another comment too, so I wanted to read that. Many people, including us, have turned our yards into a paradise. We're even growing gardens and herbs and cooking and eating outside. I love that. And
I do too.
praying and having more talks out there in the Texas heat. We sleep better at night. Yay, Tracy. That's
Oh,
awesome. That's so beautiful.
that
Yes.
is. Yeah,
Yes.
that is. I love it.
I do too. I do too. So, everyone, I hope those who have listened and those who will hopefully tune in later, if you want to comment, just hit the replay, like hashtag replay, so that we know that you're commenting. We'll be sure to get in there and touch base with you. But um, I hope that we've inspired you in some way to look for those silver linings. That is a major part of the work that Carol does. And I'm grateful to her for that. Thank you, Carol.
Thank you, and thank you for what you're doing in this work.
We're teaming up together and just trying to bring some light into the world. And Tracy, she's a huge inspiration too. Tracy, she just said, "I hope to inspire others." Yes, please. I'm sure your neighbors are watching you, going, "Oh, look at that happy family over there."
I love it.
Being inspired, she's an inspiration. Yes, that's awesome. Tracy was my last guest who came on and really told us about her book, Unapologetically Gray.
And she
Um,
and her husband just did a class
yes, they did a workshop, and that's
online.
mhm. There's so many powerful women, men and women both, out there just really doing their best to bring energy into the world and to bring healing into the world and to their friends and their families and clients. And so I encourage all of you that if you're having a rough time with life, particularly now, to reach out. There's so many coaches out there that can help you. Seriously. I hope you'll do that and find your
And
silver linings.
find your silver linings and come see us in one of our groups. Um,
Yes, we
I've
have
got
lots of
Sterling Silver
groups.
Sisters, Branding Silver Linings, Bill Rising. Debbie has The Ageless Woman. Um, Tracy has Unapologetically Gray.
Susan Esco has Die Free to Be Me.
Die Free to Be Me.
There's a lot of good ones out there.
Silver Sisters International, the Silver Circle.
Yeah. And if you're not silver yet, no worries. There are
You
so
don't
many
have to be.
beautiful groups out there for women. I encourage you, if you feel like you want to bond with other people, community is so important right now, guys. It really is. And if you can find a tribe that you're really connected with that's private, that's why I keep my group private. So people feel safe in there. They can say what they want to say and they know it's not going to go all over Facebook. But just do that. If you want to go silver, we have tons of groups for you. If you want to let your gray come in natural and be gorgeous doing it, yeah, and feel good about yourself. There's lots of groups out there with some amazing women doing that. Otherwise, just find a group that suits you.
Well, our group is not about although it's Sterling Silver Sisters, it's all ages, and it's about getting to the sterling, getting to your silver linings.
Is that Bell
Period.
Rising? Bell Rising?
Well,
Or Sterling's?
Bell Rising is the nonprofit,
Oh,
and
okay.
Sterling Silver Sisters is the Facebook group.
Gotcha. Okay. And we'll provide the links so you can connect with Carol if you would like. After we get off
Awesome.
here and I go back into the group, I'll post your contact information.
Thank you.
Okay.
And thanks again for the beginnings.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Thank you so much for coming on. I enjoyed you. Yes.
I did you.
Thank you.
And Tracy, thank you.
Yes, thank you, Tracy, for jumping on. I appreciate you. All right, all.
Have a
Bye
nice
for
night.
now.
Bye.
Yes, you too. Bye now.